It's gross.
I mean, if we're talking all-time historic,
Bill Cartwright.
the Bill Cartwright's the obvious, like one you think of. Another one that pops into my mind is Anthony Mason. His shot was just weird. Like it wasn't. I guess it wasn't hideous looking, but it always it bothered me.
Mason had ugly. That. Mason had that free throw where he
just wait for it.
Palm the ball, and he had his hand just off the ball, like as a guide, but he never used it to hold the ball while he shot the free throw. It was weird.
Yeah, he would just wait for it, man. He would just hold it and hold it.
Yeah, he started so many like lane violations.
It was like it was Markelle Fultz before Markelle Fultz was a thing.
Oh yeah, we're not counting him, right? Because that's just sad.
Is there anyone else we're missing that's like in the league right now?
Not anything. I mean, Kevin Martin.
Oh, Kevin Martin's was terrible. That's a great one.
Was weird, but he could shoot. It was weird.
Great shooter. I mean, Sean Marion.
Marion, yeah, that was a bad one. But yeah, I don't know of any right now in the league that I could think of that stands out.
I mean, Omri Caspi, I don't remember his shot being this much of a rainbow. It's probably just because I'm just ignorant in the NBA. Like I thought I was paying attention, but I wasn't actually paying attention until he wore a Grizzlies jersey. And then I was like, whoa, that ball goes really high.
You know what always bothered me? And he had a pretty jump shot, but it was a thing at the end he always would do. Melo would like shoot the jumper and then quickly bring his hands to his side. You know what I mean? Like
that's your own problem. Melo's jumper was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
It is still beautiful, even though it doesn't go in.
But it doesn't go. But he would it always bothered me that like the shot at the top, it looked great. It was wonderful form. But then like his follow through would just be like to immediately put his hands by his hips.
Yeah.
And there would be no follow through. And I just never.
You didn't like that?
No, Westbrook does it too. It just seems like superfluous. It just seems like you're being like you're.
He's showing off. It's a little flare. It's a little flare.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't like my flare. I like my John Stockton jump shot.
LaMarcus Cousins asks, Doris Burke called Drew Holiday the most underrated player in the league. You all agree with this? And if not, who deserves this honor?
I'm going to go I think John Collins is incredible. If you watch him against the Nuggets, he had like 20 rebounds or something like that. And he's kind of like he's on a crappy team, but if he played big minutes, he'd be like 22 and 12 a game.
I think he might be, Chuck. I don't know what his numbers are right now. I haven't seen him actually play much since he just came back from his injury. Yeah, right now he's averaging 18.3 points and only 9 rebounds. So that's pretty, he's averaging 18 and 9 and 2.5 assists. Yeah, in 28 minutes.
Yeah, he's not playing like huge minutes. So like I don't know. I think that kid, if he keeps doing what he's doing, and Trae Young becomes an okay, not turnover machine, then and he can hit a three, then they could have a good little core moving forward.
Yeah, I think like Drew Holiday is very underrated when you try to imagine just general fans or like the NBA general fandom. I still think, yes, Drew Holiday probably is one of the most underrated players. And he's been in that same boat as Mike Conley forever, years, 5 years, 6 years even. Like Mike Conley was called underrated, and then he was called underrated so much that he became properly rated. And then everyone was talking about how good he was. And then like there was almost a year there where he was like Mike Conley was actually overrated. Where I was sitting there as a fan being like, he's not that good, guys. Like,
right.
He's never been actually snubbed from the All-Star game. Like, he's always like on the fringe, but he never should have actually been there. But now
he's never been robbed. It's always been like,
exactly.
He could have been, but it was never like, oh, this was this year with these numbers.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
right.
like if you think about maybe NBA fans at large, or maybe like AP writers who don't actually follow the league closely, I think Drew Holiday is pretty underrated because just the Pelicans still don't get that much publicity outside of Anthony Davis. I think a guy like Tobias Harris is like a guy who's really stinking good, and people don't really know him that well. They don't know his game that well. He's been bouncing around between teams. I would also throw out Pascal Siakam. The Raptors have been incredible. Like, that's a guy who a casual NBA fan may not even know at all. And he is just one of the reasons that the Raptors are killing everybody, like even when Kawhi Leonard doesn't play. So I think he's underrated, but he also, then when you dive into like, I guess the world that I live in, the sphere of like NBA nerddom and NBA Twitter, then you have things where like Pascal Siakam, he's like on the fast track to getting overrated. Because everyone's writing their Pascal Siakam stories like this guy is the reason the Raptors are who they are. So I think Drew has a legit claim for being underrated.
Hey, did you hear about that Siakam Kawhi fight?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know much about it. What did I miss there?
It was Siakam punched Kawhi. It was a Rock'em Siakam robot situation. Yeah. Hey, but you know who I think is underweight? I've watched like 3 Blazers games for some reason in the past 2 weeks, and I love Al-Farouq Aminu.
Oh, he's great.
He hits like all the good shots that he's supposed to, but he and plays incredible. Like, he hits the open shots when CJ and Dame, get triple teamed. And he's in the corner. He hits them pretty regularly.
Well, so I think our Blazer fans will tell you that is if you just see the right 3 games. Like, okay, I think Aminu was actually on a shooting streak where he's been pretty hot, where he's hitting way more of the shots than he normally does because he does everything else. Like, Blazers fans, I think, have that love-hate relationship with them. As we all know, in Adolph was named after Aminu dribbles off leg or foot. We made it for the whole league, just a dribble off leg or foot, but that's inspired by Al-Farouq Aminu, who cannot dribble and has terrible shooting percentages every year of his career. So he's a fun player, but I guess he's on that list where if you see the right 3 games, you're like, this guy is incredible. But I guess his overall body of work. Let's do one last question. Love Kebabs 69. Knowing what we know now, how would you redraft the 2018 rookie class? Redrafts are pretty fun. We take our very short, small sample size, get a quick reaction based on what we've seen on the NBA season. Obviously the draft went DeAndre Ayton, then Marvin Bagley, then Luka Doncic, then Jaren Jackson, then Trae Young. How much of that would you redo, Chuck? Do you have enough of a grasp on these rookies yet to
I have. I've
some conclusions?
Weirdly into rookies this year. I've watched 2 Suns games, a bunch of Grizz games. Dallas has been a team that I've been interested in with Luka going crazy. But yeah, I think that the best player, honestly, and this isn't to make you feel good, so far is Jaren Jackson Jr. And mostly because I think he's got like this weird timeless game. And I also think Luka Doncic eats too many Twinkies. I just have this feeling like he's in his hotel room playing Fortnite and mashing on snacks. And he's a kid. And Jaren Jackson Jr. comes from like NBA pedigree. And I think at the end of the day, I think Jaren Jackson Jr. wants to be really, really good. And Luka loves playing basketball. But the difference between great and, an all-time great or the best player in the draft is going to be who wants to be the best. And I think Jaren Jackson Jr.'s got it, and he's in the right situation in Memphis to not get managed and picked to death by a market like Dallas or New York or LA that has more mouths to talk about somebody's development or lack of or flaws or issues. So I would pick Jaren Jackson Jr. off the top because I think he's just got the best demeanor and skill set out of the group of those first 4.
I like that you're trying to make me feel good. I think Luka's been like way better than Jaren Jackson Jr., but I do understand the argument that Jaren Jackson Jr. still has a higher ceiling and still might be, if you had to pick going forward, still might be the guy you would choose to have on your team. But you know, like for me, I would take Luka first. I would take Jaren Jackson Jr. second. And this is kind of like, ignoring circumstance or just in a vacuum. I take him second. I think I would take Wendell Carter Jr. third.
Over
no,
DeAndre
actually,
Ayton.
I think I would take Wendell Carter Jr. third. DeAndre Ayton, like, he's awesome. And I don't know how much of it is just the whole culture of the Suns organization, the Suns with their, monstrously evil owner Robert Sarver threatening to move the team to Vegas or Seattle.
What a monster! What a tyrant!
Yeah, I mean, the NBA's got to step in and get rid of this guy. But I think I would take Wendell Carter Jr. over Ayton, and then like Bagley, Trae Young have been like good. I mean, technically Trae Young's been historically bad, but we kind of knew that. I feel like we knew that him coming in this young, he would do some stuff. That's about all I can rank. I mean, I haven't seen enough Colin Sexton. I know he's putting up numbers now in a trash situation. Like, they cleared out George Hill, like, to give him playing time. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's been real good.
Real good. I've watched Mo Bamba in a couple of games, and I don't see anything other than him getting hurt. He looks like he's got the hands and, like, the offensive stuff, and he's athletic enough where I think the defensive stuff will probably come eventually.
I will say the most inexplicable guy so far is Kevin Huerter for the Hawks.
The
ginger
new Red
dude?
Mamba.
Yeah, he's like, he looks not like an NBA player. He looks like a 15-year-old, but he's like weirdly effective. He gets assists and stuff, and
he's got a part-time job at Chick-fil-A, no doubt.
Oh, he is a manager to Chick-fil-A.
And he was killing it. Well, I was watching the Mavs Hawks, and he was lighting them up, and I'd never heard of him. So but please, Kevin, don't hurt her.
I think right now what's crazy about this draft, to close up our cross-on questionnaire, is like, I think the Suns and Kings, I think you have to have some regrets. I think the Suns have an explainable and the Hawks, of course. I think the Suns, all right, you have an excuse. Everyone thought Ayton was going to be awesome, and he seems awesome, and he is actually. He's uniquely good at offense, but he's so bad at defense. It looks like that might be part of his just makeup and not necessarily a symptom of a bad organization. It could be part of his game. But you look at like Doncic, Jackson, Trae Young, Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr., Colin Sexton, Kevin Knox, Mikal Bridges looks pretty good, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Miles Bridges for the Hornets. That's your top 12 picks. Yeah. There's not a bust in there, I don't think. I mean, like, Trae Young could be a bust. Mo Bamba could be a bust. Kevin Knox even could be. He's been awesome recently. So, like, I feel like it's weird. This draft looks really, really strong, and all those guys seem like they're going to be real good players.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those were our Croissant questionnaire. If you want to submit a question to that, you got to become a Patreon supporter. You got to go to patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. You join there for $1. I think $1, and you're allowed to submit questions. We will answer your own questions on the air. If you want to step it up to the $3 or $5 tiers, you get the chat, the Slack chat, talking around the clock with all of our biggest fans and listeners for $3, and then $5 we get some bonus audio and video and stuff there. So if you want to support our show, you do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right, steak and eggs. Best thing, Chuck. What's the best thing you saw?
So Wade and LeBron, they played. It was a great game. I enjoyed it thoroughly. My favorite part was like I kind of got the understanding of like how NBA teams, like the actual players on the court, are much like a business in that the people who have been there the longest do the least amount of work but get the most amount of affection and appreciation
and money.
and money. So Wade is getting paid nothing this year, but the last 4 minutes of that game, Wade and LeBron basically played no defense and were just doing some like hero ball pickup basketball stuff and it was incredible to watch because everybody else on the court was flying and rotating and trying to get every rebound and just immediately handing it back to LeBron and Wade so that they could chuck up some incredibly stupid